What's up, everyone? I hope you're all doing well. In today's video, we will be talking all about tips. Do you receive tips? Do you think you should give tips? Who deserves them? Did you do a good job? I don't know. Whatever your situation or your deal is with tips, we will be talking about it today in this video, or they will. So let's go ahead and get right into it. But please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Help us get to 10K subscribers. This is not easy, so just help us, please, and thank you.
I asked my table for a tip after they were gonna stiff me, and I don't care how much hate I get for this. Everybody talks about tipping culture this, tipping culture that. No, but let me break it down for you, okay? It's Saturday night. I'm being told I'm gonna get a party of 16, which I said, great, bring it on. Let's go, easy money. So I thought, okay? So the party of 16 gets sat in my section. They take up 3 tables in my section. So when you get sat a party, you usually get skipped in rotation a few times because you're dealing with a big party. I get to the table, I introduce myself, I do my whole spiel. Before I'm finished even speaking, one guy's like, whoa, hey, stop. He said, hold on. He said, you're not gonna talk to them, you're gonna talk to me. I'm gonna order everybody's food and then I'll give you the drinks. I said, okay, perfect. What are we having a drink? He said, no, I'm gonna give you the food first and then I'm gonna give you the drinks. I said, okay, perfect. What will you be having? He ordered 6 vegetarian combos, which comes 2 veggie patties, 2 protein pancakes, egg whites, and a side of fruit. He said, but we don't want egg whites. All of the egg whites, change them out for hash browns. On those hash browns, I want you to add jalapenos and onions. Great, let's do that. Then he proceeds to order 7 omelets. 7 omelets which come with 3 pancakes each. Okay, perfect. After that, when he gives me the drinks, he orders 15 waters, no ice, 14 hot chocolates with whipped cream, and 1 regular coffee with regular milk. Okay? I said, perfect. I've sent in the order for you. He said, and make it quick because we have somewhere to be. That's where I almost lost my shit. Because how do you come out to a restaurant, order 7 omelets, and tell me to hurry up? I said, you know what, sir? There is other people in this restaurant. It probably won't come out as fast as you'd like it to, but we will definitely try our best. Okay? When I tell you that the kitchen got this food out in like that, the kitchen got this food out quick. I had 2 other servers help me run food. We were all carrying a bunch of hot plates. Took it to the table. They got everything that they needed. Before the food got to their table, they all had already napkins, syrup, hot sauce. They had everything that they could have needed to enjoy their meal. So they enjoy their food, whatever. I'm checking on them. They keep saying everything's great. When it came down to give them the check, I gave the check to the guy who was like, oh, I'm going to order everything. I'm going to pay for everything. Okay, great. I gave him the check. The check was $320 with some change. And when it came to pay, he pays me cash. He gives me $321, which means no tip. And I was like, okay. So I went to the table. There's no tip at the table, anything. I said, okay, I'm going to go ask him. So I went up to him. I said, excuse me, sir. You only gave me $321. I just wanted to ensure that this was accurate. You're not going to leave any gratuity. I just wanted to make sure everything came out to your expectations. You enjoyed your food. Everything was to your liking. And, I just want to make sure. He said, well, I didn't know it was mandatory. I said, no, it's not mandatory. I just wanted to ensure that this was accurate, that nobody took the tip off the table or anything like that. This man pulls out a $50 bill, gives it to me, kind of like, here's your tip and shut the fuck up, get out my face type shit, which I don't give a fuck, because how dare you go out to eat in a party of 16 on a tab of $320 and not tip? And I feel like nobody was going to believe me, so I saved the check. I'm going to show y'all. This check is literally half my size. I'm not even playing with you right now. Like, okay, $320, right? Minimum 15% gratuity would have been $48. So he basically just gave me the minimum, which is fine. But if you don't got money to go to tip on your meal, don't even go out to eat. And I'm not talking like, oh, like if you're by yourself and you get a $15 meal, I'm not saying leave $30 tip. No, like not everybody's set up like that. Not everybody knows the industry. But how dare you go out to eat? 16 people, rack up a tab of $320, be rude to your fucking server, enjoy your service still, and not fucking tip. I don't care. I did what the fuck I did. I don't give a fuck. And my servers, I know y'all felt that shit. Sometimes we just gotta sit here and make sure, because the fuck? I wanted him to admit to me that he wasn't leaving me a tip on a $320 tab. I wanted him to admit to me that he came out to eat with 16 of his friends and family members and decided not to tip. I wanted him to admit it. I would have been fine. Okay, cool. That's the type of person you are. But he gave me my tip, so whatever. But nobody was gonna believe me. Look how fucking big.
Really quickly, I want to explain to you guys why it is so important to tip on your checks when you go out. This is even a non-controversial side. So yes, I am a server, but just in general, I need to bring you guys a different perspective. Almost every place that you go out to eat, drink, or anything at all to that nature, the servers there will be tipping out to the bar staff, the bar backs, the food and drink runners, dishwasher, you name it. They're usually tipping out no matter where you go. So let's say this has happened to me on numerous occasions. So let's say you run up a tab to $1,000, right? We tip out 8% total at my job. I know other places probably do more, some places probably do less, but where I work, we tip out 8% of our food and beverage sales, and it gets dispersed differently by the department. So if you run up a $1,000 tab and you don't tip, your server is still having to tip out on your bill. $1,000 tab, 8% of the food and drink sales is $80. So now your server has to tip out $80 just for your table and however long you were there. Not only that, the amount of time that you were there and how many table turnaround times could have happened in that amount of time. At my job, we do not auto-grat. I know a lot of places do, but unfortunately we do not under any circumstance. I mean, there could be 30 people. We do not auto-grat. That said, it's really important to tip. What you tip is up to you. Most suggested gratuities are anywhere from 20 to 25%. Even though I am a server and I do critique when I go out and I notice potential options that they missed or things that they could have done better, I do notice those things. But no matter what, even if my service was terrible, I tip 20% because I know that they're paying their bills with that. They are tipping out to the kitchen no matter what. I'm not about to have you pay for me to sit in your section, and that's how it is if you do not tip. So just to put that into perspective for someone, you do not tip and you run up a tab, your server still has to tip out. So we are now in the negative for that section. So basically we're paying for you to be here, if that makes sense. I hope this helps put some perspective out there for many people who are not in the food service industry, because I think the people who usually do not tip or do not understand the concept are either from another country and it's just not normal there to really tip because they make a livable wage. We do not. I don't know if it's all across the board in America. I know it's the majority. So yeah, just had to share just to give some insight. Because a lot of people, genuinely, I don't believe know.
Hey everybody, I'm Seven. If you really want to end tipping culture in this country, we need to increase the minimum wage. $7.25 an hour is not enough for anybody to live on, even in the lowest cost of living regions of this country. And even if you're making more than that, if you're making $10 an hour, which is a pretty common wage for gas station employees where I live, that's not enough to live on either. So people are having to do 2 jobs. People are living paycheck to paycheck. People are struggling. Is it any wonder that you're seeing tip jars at the register, at gas stations? Is it any wonder that you're seeing videos of delivery drivers and waitresses and bartenders who are fed up with people who don't tip? We also need to do something about the tip credit, because if a position is considered a tipped position, then that person is making less than minimum wage, which is already not enough to live on. And so tips are expected. It's a self-perpetuating cycle. They get paid less because they're expected to receive tips, and they're expecting a tip because they get paid less. The only way to break the cycle is to legislate our way out of it. And I'll give you 2 guesses as to which party is more likely to do that.
25-year-old Tamlin Yoder is still in disbelief that she lost her job over a takeout order. A local church ordered $735 worth of food that she had to prepare.
25 steaks, 25 potatoes, 25 chickens.
When people from the church came to pick up the food, Tamlin loaded all the entrees into the car. Then church members left her high and dry with no tip.
I was super mad. I was angry, you know, because that's such a large order and we have to take so much out of our time. It took almost an hour to put everything together.
So she went on social media expressing her frustration on Facebook. The church quickly became aware of the situation and called the restaurant to make things right. The next day, when Tamlin showed up for work, she got a pink slip. In disbelief, Tamlin's mother posted on social media the chain of events, and the story has reached all corners of the country. And now, Tamlin hopes people realize that for so many people, every penny counts.
As takeout, we still make server minimum wage. We are making $5 an hour. And that's not even 2 gallons of gas.
I don't believe in tipping, and here's why. The other day I went to Shake Shack, placed my order on an iPad. I got absolutely no service. Yet on the iPad, I got asked if I wanted to tip. And they had the audacity to start at 15, 18, or 20%. Or how about this one? I went to a bar, I bought a drink, and in my receipt it has a tipping option at the bottom. But they sneakily put in a service charge right above the tipping option. So whether I want to or not, I have to tip either way. Why are they asking me to tip twice? And then there's Starbucks. So I ordered my drink, which is already like $5, and then they have the audacity to ask me to tip as well. As someone who's worked in the hospitality industry for over 5 years, I strongly believe that tipping is correlated with the service that you offer. If you're already getting paid and it's your job to take an order and hand over a coffee, why do you have to ask for a tip? I'm not against tipping in general. I appreciate when somebody goes out of their way to ask me how my meal was, and I reward that with a tip to thank them. But when I get asked for money and I get nothing in return,
tip the server what they deserve. This is how you are supposed to do it.
Alright, this lady ordered all these groceries, all that water, all these groceries, the groceries we filling up in this buggy, and she only wanted to pay $7 for some delivery, and she stated that she lived upstairs in some apartments. So y'all already know what I did. I brought her shit back to the store. I'm not carrying all this shit up no fucking steps in no apartment for no $7. She got her goddamn mind. Plus all, she got 175 items. Not gonna happen. See, this is why y'all need to learn how to pay your drivers a tip. See, I don't mind bringing your shit back to the store. We're gonna need more buggies. So you gotta imagine, walking through the grocery store, she got 1 cart full, 2 cart full, this cart about to be full, plus all that. She could been walking around the grocery store with 4 buggies. I'm not doing all that for no $7.
My question to you is, how much do you want your tip to be?
I don't know, whatever you, honestly, you know, whatever you can give.
Well, what would be a tip that would make you really happy today?
$20?
$20?
Yeah.
Think a little bit more.
What I need to do is pay my phone bill, but
your phone bill?
Like, yeah, like $50.
Anything else you need right now in life?
An air conditioner, but
an air conditioner.
You know, that's a lot of money, you know?
How much are they?
The one I won is like $300.
Like, so you don't have AC right now?
No, I have a fan, but it's like that. It's less like.
This is what I'm gonna do, okay? I'm actually gonna give you $350.
Oh, you're not. No, right, really?
So the $300 right here is for your air conditioner.
Wait, for real? Like, no, wait, stop, because you're really about to make me like, no, like, you're really about to make me cry. I really, truly appreciate it. I really do.
This is the other 50 for your cell phone.
Thank you. I'm like shaking. No, this has never happened to me, like, for real. And you know what? I don't even think I'm gonna get an AC. I'm gonna just give it to my mom, to be honest. She's a little worried about, like, you know, paying the mortgage and stuff, so honestly, you know. I think I'm just giving it to my mom. Honestly, thank
Businesses don't pay their employees a living wage. They force their customers to do it through tips, and we are going along with it. The business doesn't even pay the employees enough to survive. A customer walks in thinking they're just buying a sandwich. Suddenly, surprise, they're expected to fund someone's rent. And the employee, they have been conditioned to get mad at the customer, not the business with the bad business practices. They get mad at the customer if you don't tip. This is the only system where the workers are trained to say thank you. And a stranger gives them what their boss should have provided. It's not just a pay structure, you're being conned. The responsibility disappears right out of the boss's hands, lands squarely in yours. We don't question it. We accept it. We argue how much to tip instead of why are we tipping in the first place. It's brilliant. It's broken. It's baked into the culture. And the craziest part, we call it hospitality. Don't forget to tip your service providers. It's the greatest con in the book.
You have been such a great server today.
Oh, thank you.
And I really appreciate it. Good health is hard to find.
I know that's right, honey. I've been doing this for 2 days long.
Oh. I got a question for you. So, off the top of your head, what would you make in a week's time as a server?
A week's time.
Just what you think.
A good $800.
That's what your tip gonna be today from me and my husband. We're gonna be a blessing to you because you have been a blessing to us today, and we want to take care of you. No, ma'am, a week's worth.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I need to work done on my RV. Oh, you just got... I need to get the roof done on my RV, and thank you.
Oh my God, thank you. It's yours. Thank you.
Y'all made me cry.
Oh, wow. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
You get such bad service all the time that I want to show that there are good service.
I cannot wait to get up and make a response to this comment and just start triggering the fuck out of people. So let's get into it. Tipping is required, okay? We are in America. Tipping is required. I don't care who gets pissed off by me saying this. It is required. If you're not gonna tip, don't go out. We would much rather you stay home. If you're not gonna tip, do not get the service done. A lot of people are always like, oh, you know, I'm not rich. Like, I can't afford this and the fucking tip. Then you cannot afford it. If you want something and you're getting a service done to you or for you and you just can't afford the tip, that is perfectly fine. That is perfectly fine. I'm telling you right now, then stay your ass home. Stay home. People like me in the service industry work hard, okay? Like, I'm not your fucking slave. I'm not your servant. I don't like being told what to do. While I'm on the clock, I have no problem catering to you if you're gonna tip me. I chose to work in hospitality for so long because of the tips. If people just weren't tipping, I wouldn't be in this industry. I came on here the other day and I saw a video of a girl complaining about tipping at a masseuse parlor or whatever the fuck. She was just talking about how her massage was $80 and then she tipped $5 on it. And then the workers complained and she was like so confused. And I went straight to the comments thinking everyone was gonna rip her ass apart, and everyone defended that girl. What is wrong with you people? We are in America. You need to be tipping properly on an $80 service. Now, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes the tipping does get ridiculous and it's super unnecessary. If someone sitting right behind a counter literally doesn't lift a finger and just like hands you a product and shows you a tip screen, now y'all are pushing it. Also, that girl did say in her video they made her tip in the beginning of the service, like before she got anything done. That's also ridiculous. You can just tell them you prefer to tip after the service is done. Also, if the service is bad, tip according to that. But if you had a great experience and the service was done well and you just don't tip because you can't afford it or just because you don't want to, stop going out in public. I don't want to fucking see you. I can't tell you how many times when I was working at this job where I didn't give a fuck, how many times I chased people all the way out the door just to call them out for not tipping me. At that point, it's not even about the tip. Like, I just felt so disrespected. Now I'm gonna check your ass. My favorite was to literally call men out when they didn't tip and they were on dates just to embarrass them real quick, because I don't know about y'all, but men that don't tip on dates gives me the biggest fucking ick. So for the people that keep saying, oh, tipping is not required, for the ones that keep saying tipping is optional, just know that it shows you have never worked in hospitality in your life. And until then, I don't want to hear it.
Just know that all these people that are complaining about servers and their tips, saying that servers should go get a real job that makes more than $2 an hour, are these same people that would lose their minds if they were not able to go out to eat anymore because all the servers left the industry to go work real jobs.
This is part one reaction of an employee who did not receive a tip due to the bad customer service and discrimination. She snatched a debit machine out of my hand, as well as she put her hands on me. So y'all let me know who to call because the manager did nothing about it.
This Domino's pizza guy is really upset about his last delivery. What follows next is an epic meltdown.
5 minutes out there in the rain and no tip! No tip!
I wasn't having the best day.
Here are 3 things you should know about how waiters and other tipped employees are supposed to be paid. Hi, my name is Doug Lipsky, and I'm an employment lawyer. The first thing to know is that employers do not have to pay tipped employees at the minimum wage. They can claim what's called a tip credit against the minimum wage and pay them at the tip minimum wage. For example, the federal minimum wage is $7.25, which is of course crazy, but under federal law, the tip minimum wage is $2.13. So if you live in a state that does not have a minimum wage that is higher than the federal minimum wage, an employer only has to pay a tipped employee $2.13. By contrast, in New York, the minimum wage is $16, and the tip minimum wage is $10.65. The second thing you should know is how tips have to be handled. There's a lot of restrictions on this. One is that an employer cannot use the tips to pay other employees. Also, if you're going to have a tip pool, you cannot include back of house, kitchen staff, for example, in the tip pool. While however well intended, it is unlawful. Also, the employer cannot include a manager as true managerial authority, like hiring, firing, setting people's pay, disciplining in the tip pool. If something like this happens, the employer is losing the legal right to claim the tip credit, and now the employer has to pay the employees the difference between the tip minimum wage and the minimum wage. Third thing to know is that the employer, if they're going to pay the employees at the tip minimum wage, have to tell them this. They could do this in a few ways. The easiest way, and sometimes the most common, is in the pay stubs. It will say that right there that they are claiming X dollars per hour as a tip credit allowance. Or some states require when an employer hires someone, they give them a document saying, here is your hourly rate and we are claiming a tip credit against the minimum wage. When employers do not do this, when they do not tell the employees they are claiming a tip credit against the minimum wage, they most likely lose the legal right to pay the employees at the tip minimum wage. And here again, they would owe the employees the difference between the tip minimum wage and the minimum wage. For more helpful tips, just hit the follow button. Thanks.
I'm cheap, I'm not going to tip well, and I don't care.
Tipping at a restaurant is not optional. It's mandatory. And I'm going to tell you why, because you're going to chew my head off. Anyway, listen, when you go to a restaurant, you pick a restaurant, right? You choose a restaurant because you want to have a good time at this restaurant. You choose a restaurant because you may want to be a little fancy, get dressed up, be cute, or whatever, right? There's 4 things in place at fancy restaurants. There are servers, there are bartenders, there are bussers, and there are food runners. That's just standard, right? So you go to a restaurant, get your table, your server comes out, and they're like, getting your drink order, you're getting your appetizers, you're getting your entrees going. The bartender's over there shaking up your cocktails, making them nice and pretty. The kitchen's in the back, killing your entrees right now. And then your food runner goes and grabs your drink, right? They bring it to the table. Drinks at the table. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Look at this drink. Pick. Instagram story. The food runner goes and gets your food, brings your food to the table. Oh my gosh, look at this entree. It looks so good. Pick. The family group chat, because you got to tell them about it, right? Boom. You know what's happening right now, though? You know what this is? This is called an experience. And experiences are curated by the people I mentioned, the bussers, the bartenders, the servers, the food runners. We created this whole moment for you. And you know what's crazy? You didn't have to lift a finger. We did all the work for you. We brought all the stuff to you, and you're enjoying yourself. You're having a time of your life. But you know what's crazy about experiences? Those are sold separately, right? The bill, the food, the drinks, you pay for that because you ordered that, so that's what you got to pay for. But this experience, this moment of satisfaction that you feel, this little feeling you have, well, I really enjoyed myself tonight. I did that. I made that happen, along with your good company, but I made that happen. So therefore, I need a tip. Show me appreciation, big dog. So that's the thing about people. Sometimes they're like, oh, I feel like I shouldn't have to tip you. I feel like your job should pay you a livable wage. That's fair. That's a fair opinion. About that though, that $30 steak you had tonight that you really enjoyed, next time it'll be $90. That fettuccine Alfredo you always get because you're basic, $25 tonight, $65 next time. Because you don't want to tip. I should have to tip. Okay, we're gonna get our money though, because if I'm working here and giving you this experience, I gotta get paid. So if they pay me a livable wage, that's what it's gonna cost you. So either you can tip me now or pay for it later at $90 a steak. I'm just trying to make it make sense for you, big dog. Because if you don't want to pay for the experience, go to McDonald's, go to Wendy's, or better yet, get takeout and then go home and create your own experience. Just don't sit in my section at my table, waste my time, and don't give me a tip. I'm just saying.
This is how much you should tip each of these people. So waiters and waitresses, if they do a good job, you can go 20 to 25%, but generally 15 to 18 is acceptable. Hair and nail salon, obviously depending on the specific service, but I think 20 to 25% is safe here too. So if you have like a $50 haircut, you should probably give them like $10. Rideshare or taxis. So I just found out that a lot of people don't tip their Uber or Lyft drivers, but I usually give maybe like 10% or like a flat $5 to $10 depending on the distance. Food delivery. Always tip your food delivery drivers at least $3, and if it's like a big meal, give like 15% or so, I'd say. And if it's bad weather, throw them in like an extra $5. Pickup, on the other hand, you should leave like no tip unless they're putting together some massive order. And then lastly, bartenders. You get about like $1 a drink, I think, maybe $2 if it's like a high effort cocktail. But what do you guys think?
When you go out to a restaurant, stay the fuck home. The excuses of I can't afford it or they should be paying their servers more aren't going to fly here. If you can't afford to tip properly, you do not need to be going out to dinner. And this is coming from someone who at one point could not afford to tip, so I stayed home. When you don't tip, you are literally taking money out of the pockets of those servers. And by going to restaurants that rely on this type of service, you are perpetuating the problem. You can't say you want them to be paid more and then go into a restaurant that people rely on tips for and not tip. You not giving a tip is not going to make the owner pay the servers more. You saying, I don't tip because servers should be paid more is just an excuse not to tip. And baby, if you're cheap, just say that. But going to a sit-down restaurant, knowing full well you're not going to tip, you should tell the server right up front. If you can be so bold as to not leave a tip or not leave an appropriate tip, you should be so bold to say it to their face. Tell them, you can serve me food, clean up after me, but I'm not going to tip you because I don't agree. You should get bare bones service for that. Going out to eat is a luxury.
Tip the server what they deserve. This is how you are supposed to do it.
What do you get per hour on tips?
Even if people are tipping the 20% that is standard for great service, most servers are tipping out 3 to 5% of that to bussers, hosts, and bartenders.
What if I leave you nothing?
Then we have to pay that tip out whether you give us money or not. So like,
it's-
say your bill is $100 and you don't tip me at all, I'm paying $5 to wait on you.
What? That seems like that should be illegal. Why should that come out of her pocket to pay the bussers, the bartender? That upsets me. That should be on the owner or just on people like, hey, if we don't get a tip, none of us give a tip. That should not be coming out of her pocket.
That all these people that are complaining about servers and their tips, saying that servers should go get a real job that makes more than $2 an hour, are these same people that would lose their minds if they were not able to go out to eat anymore because all the servers left the industry to go work real jobs.
These people who think this are so irritating to me. This person has been arguing that 15% is a good standard tip. Actually, if you ask anyone who's actually served a table, which I gather you have not, and anybody who tips well, 15% is kind of a crappy tip. If somebody tipped me 15% when I was serving tables, I assumed they were not happy with something. It is the bare minimum of like, here's some money. And to your other point that patrons should not supplement a server's income, whenever you sit down at a restaurant, you're having somebody serve you. Tips ensure that this person is going to go above and beyond for your service. If you have hourly paid employees that do not receive tips at a restaurant, customer service and the quality of your service is going to go way down. Unless restaurants, in that case, paid servers a good wage per hour, but they're not going to. They'll pay the bare minimum, and no server is going to care about any specific table because it doesn't matter how well you serve them, you make the same. And the price of your food will go up, so you'll be
Giving servers massive tips, biggest one yet.
You did a rock star job. It came out good vibe. So I'm gonna bless you with a rock star tip. Is there any number you want it to be? Anything that would help you? Pick any number.
I don't know, like what?
You tell me. You got the pen in your hand.
Can I just say surprise me?
What's the biggest tip you've ever got?
Maybe like 100.
100?
Yeah.
So we're gonna crank that up big time today. What's your cost of rent? Your car? Like what's your monthly cost of living?
I don't know, probably like right around 2,000.
2,000? So we're gonna go ahead. 20 we're gonna cover a month, and then $100 because life's expensive. So for you.
Are you sure?
Of course. Thank you.
Oh my God.
You did amazing. You did amazing. Thank you. Y'all gotta spread the love these days. There's not a lot.
God, thank you.
There's not a lot these days in the world. So thank you for
Guys,
everything.
that means a lot.
Of course. I used to serve her for back in the day too, so I had to come back in. And,
Oh my God.
yeah, not this one, but yeah, good vibes to you. Thank you so much for helping us tonight.
Thank you. I'm gonna go like stop. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so
guys.
much.
Have a great night.
You too. Thank you.
The only person that has realized that tipping has become so normalized in Texas. Almost every single establishment that you walk into will ask for a tip at the end of the service. Like, I completely understand if you're a server or if your job relies on tips so that you can make your money. However, I was shocked that some of these places were asking for tips. So a month ago, I went to the thrift store, and this wasn't a regular thrift store. It was a second-hand thrift store. Not gonna lie, the prices were really expensive for it being a thrift store. Like, y'all know y'all bought them for like $2. Why are y'all selling them for $45? Anyway, I found a shirt. It was $45. I was like, whatever, I really like it. I took it up to the cash register. The guy let me know my total, and then he told me that there was a question on the iPad, and I was like, I already know what it's gonna say. I look at the iPad, and it's asking for a tip, and it didn't start at 15%. It said 20, 25, or 30% tip. I was like, I don't know about y'all, but I get anxiety, and I end up tipping. So I gave a tip on top of my $45 shirt. And then on top of that, I went to Crumble Cookie, and I went to the kiosk, and apparently now you can order your cookie yourself. So I took my own order, and at the end of the order, it asked me if I wanted a tip. I was like, tip who?
When I first started there, we tipped out the cooks 10% of whatever we made.
The story this creator just told absolutely makes my blood boil. Go back and check out the video, but essentially this restaurant manager is making their service staff tip out the kitchen more money than they're actually making. And if the server is making a tip minimum wage, that's absolutely illegal. You cannot include the kitchen in a tip pool if the service staff is not making at least the state's minimum wage. And unless it's for catering orders or like online orders, the kitchen really shouldn't be in the tip pool anyways. They're not customer facing. They're not interacting with the customers. And a tip is really for the folks who are interacting and dealing with the customers. So to that server, if you are not getting a full minimum wage and their manager is not giving up on this, go straight to the Department of Labor. And to go to that restaurant, when the Department of Labor shows up, they're going to go through every ounce of your books, and you're going to be screwed.
If you're not tipping 18 to 20% in America, stay home. One person not tipping is never going to affect someone like me who is a volume bartender who does a tip pool and a tip share. However, I will tell you who it's going to affect. Server who does not share tips, who has a 4 to 5 section table. A standard serving section is around 4 to 5 tables, meaning you are responsible for those tables the whole night. You are responsible for flipping them, turning them. The more people you get flipped and turned, the more money you make. Now, let's say somebody comes and sits in your section, them and their whole family. They sit there for an hour and a half ordering food, margaritas, drinks, taking up your time and your space. When the bill comes, they don't tip $1. That server now just lost money and paid for them to dine. Because that server has to do a tip out, meaning they have to pay a bartender a percentage of the alcohol sales sold, they have to pay a food runner a percentage of the food for them to run it to your table, and they have to pay the busser who bussed your table, and sometimes the hostess who sat you. If you are not tipping 18 to 20%, you should not be going out to eat. And if you still decide to, you should tell your server at the beginning of their shift when you first sit down that you are not planning on tipping them, so that they can prioritize which tables they're going to take care of first. Meaning, instead of running for your 37 Diet Cokes and 4 sides of ranch, they can take care of somebody who's actually going to take care of them. Our grocery stores, there are liquor stores, beer distributors. Cook your own food, make your own drinks. Stay home if you're not going to tip. Don't even get me started on people who don't tip for elite services they choose to get done. Go to part 2 for that one.
Hello, TikTokers. It is Lone Lady. So this particular TikTok is not going to have any reference to mortgages. It has everything to do with tipping. Now, I don't know if anyone else has experienced what I've been experiencing, but everywhere I go, they're asking for a tip. Starbucks now wants a tip. Subway, Chipotle. I heard someone tell me they went to Taco Bell through the drive-thru and they want a tip. Now, I do tip. I think I'm a generous tipper. Hairstylists, servers, my nail technician, my esthetician. I do tip those people. But last week, I think it was the straw that broke the camel's back. I went into, it's not a carryout. It's a little store within a building. And they serve, you know, snacks, chips, cookies, crackers, pop, those things. Just drinks, coffee. They have coffee in there. I went in there and they had pre-made sandwiches that they don't make there themselves, okay? So I had to do a fast. And it was 12 o'clock. So I was ready to eat my breakfast / lunch, my brunch. So I go in there. I grab my sandwich and a bag of chips. And I set it on the counter. And she was ready to ring it in. And she said, cash or card. And I said, I would like to pay with a card. I put my card in and it's asked for a tip. And I said, a tip? So I said, I'm going to pay with cash. Because what am I tipping for? I mean, if we don't take a stance sooner or later, we're going to have to start tipping when we go to the gas station. We're going to have to tip the person who fills in the windshield washer fluid. You know, everybody's going to want a tip. And it's insane. So what I do now is when I know I'm going to certain places, I pay cash. Because when you pay cash, they don't ask for a tip. Think about it. Whenever you go somewhere and you pay with a card, I don't care where you go. If you pay with a card, they're now asking for tips. So what I do is I pay for cash and they don't ask for a tip. I will tip for service all day long, very generously. But I'm not tipping to fill my car up on dispenser number 6 at a gas station. I'm sorry, I can't do it. I got to draw the line somewhere. What do you guys think?
I made a video about people not tipping on carryout because I felt like this was rude. I didn't say people had to tip. I'm just saying if you're not going to tip, you don't got to do all of this. This is rude, and you want me to explain why a tip is required on carryout. The federal minimum for carryout is $2 and some cents. I had to pull it up. It's $2.13 in some places. I'm not sure where that was, where they wrote that note on the thing. It's not my receipt. But working in the service industry, I do know some places, if you don't make your minimum hourly, your company's supposed to bump it up. So I guess for most carryout workers, most of the time they will end up getting a minimum, but it is like a tip position because they're in a restaurant. If it's like McDonald's or Starbucks or something, of course you're not going to tip those guys. They make minimum wage. So it's just the industry of a restaurant with a waiter in it. The carryout person pretty much still gets paid the same. In some places, other places are higher, but most places the minimum could be as low as $2. And it's not up to people to know that because they don't know what everybody gets paid. But I'm just saying, y'all don't got to be rude about it. If you're not going to tip, you don't got to tip. But yeah, you don't got to write a rude note on there. Just go about your day. Those people are trying to make a living just like you.
I mean, we pay like $45 for the food though.
I understand, bro, but I don't get paid the $45 from the thing, bro. You didn't tip me, bro. That's the only way I get fucking paid. I got a family to feed.
But listen, that's not our problem. We paid you the $45, bro.
That's not the point. That's not, bro. Brother to another brother, bro. I should have got a tip. Don't order food if you're not gonna.
You can't expect a tip though, bro. If you take the job, it's the job you.
I done drove 30 fucking minutes to get here, bro.
Who probably didn't take Oh God, who you walking on? Oh God, who you walking on? Oh God, who you walking on?
This Domino's pizza guy is really upset about his last delivery. What follows next is an epic meltdown.
5 minutes out there in the rain and no tip. No tip.
I wasn't having the best day.
This is part one reaction of an employee who did not receive a tip due to the bad customer service and discrimination. She snatched a debit machine out of my hand, as well as she put her hands on me. So y'all let me know who to call because the manager did nothing about it.
Or somebody who regularly gets tips. Remember, if you're part of a tip pool, you can only share tips with other customarily tipped employees. You can never share tips with management, kitchen staff, or non-tipped employees. And if that's the case, then the tip pooling arrangement you're working with is illegal. Remember, always check your paychecks. If it doesn't seem right, call me to fight.
Tipping culture has absolutely gone too far because I just got asked to tip on an online order for clothing. Now, this is not a large retailer. This is a small business. I'm sure this is just like a Shopify site and something they turned on to be like, hey, let's see if we get any tips. The thing is, I didn't interact with anyone when I placed my online order. Like, someone will have to then take my clothing and put it in a box and ship it to me, and that should take them like 5 to 10 minutes if they are good at their job. I did not tip on this. If there was an option for abso-fucking-lutely not, that's what I would have picked.
Fuck you! Let's talk about tipping. There's a rising movement in our country that is vehemently against tipping. Before my military career, I was a server at a local restaurant, so I lived off of tips. I made like $2 an hour, and the majority of what I earned was from my customer service and what I earned from the table that I was serving, right? Most of my money came from tips. What I'm seeing today a lot in social media and things like that is that people are kind of souring on the idea of tipping. If you traveled abroad, you've probably seen that tipping is kind of an American culture. A lot of other countries don't really tip. Now, for a long time, that's been an accepted form of compensation here in our country, but I think it's being abused. There are services that just, in my personal opinion, do not warrant tips that are now asking for them. And as a result, I think we're all seeing that across many industries where they might punch something into a computer, turn the screen around and say, hey, here's how much you can tip me for my 10 seconds worth of work. And a lot of us are like, well, you didn't do anything. You just took my order and it took you 5 seconds, right? I'm not going to give you a 10% or 20% tip. I like to think of myself as a good tipper. I think if I'm out at a restaurant, you keep my drink full, you come to my table regularly, I'm going to give you at least 20, 25% tip. Guaranteed. I think if you do a good job, you earn that tip, I'm willing to pay for it. But what we're seeing today is many situations where minimal level of work is being demanded that you tip. And I think people are starting to sour on that. So what do you think? Do you think tipping is going to stay a part of our culture long term? Or do you think tipping might be on its way out?
Hi, it's saying 0 for the tip. Was there a cash tip? Loser.
If you work for tips and you have a manager who makes you share those tips, you have to understand how tip pooling laws work. Federal law says that employers cannot keep your tips under any circumstances. They're your property and they have to give them to you within the pay period. Some states require it sooner. A big question that comes up is whether the employer can share the tip pools with managers and back of house workers. A manager with hiring and firing power is not allowed to participate in the tip pool, even if they actually wait tables. But what about the back of house people? That one gets a little tricky, but I'm going to try to make it easy. If your employer uses a tipped minimum wage, that means they pay you as low as $2.13 an hour, but then they use your tips to bring you up to the full minimum wage, then they're not allowed to share the tip pool with back of house workers. If they pay full minimum wage, then yes, they can have back of house workers in the tip pool. That means the bussers, dishwashers, and line cooks can share. That said, states are allowed to ban the tip credit law. Like in California, you must pay the full minimum wage. States are also allowed to say that back of house workers can be in the tip pool. California has done that as well. So in the state of California, managers cannot take from the tip pool, back of house workers can be in the tip pool, and you must be paid the full minimum wage. No tip credits allowed.
13 cents is how much you will make an hour if you are a tipped employee at minimum. Why is this important? Because that's why we have to tip waitresses and waiters and people who are serving us at a restaurant, especially in a place like Texas, because they're only making $2.13 an hour. Now, so many other places are requiring or asking for tips that it's frustrating people. But if you go to Starbucks, and Starbucks over here pays $16 to $20 an hour, why are y'all asking for a tip? I get it. You know, if we want to give you a tip, that's cool, but you shouldn't expect it. You're being paid $16 to $20 an hour to make coffee drinks and make drinks at your local Starbucks for people. That is your pay to do that job. When I was a residential counselor at a Job Corps, I was making like $21 an hour. What does that mean? That means we're getting paid $21 an hour to counsel students. Do I expect a tip for doing my job? No. So the moral of the story is I don't feel like anybody should feel bad for not clicking tip when you're going to Starbucks, when you're going to McDonald's, when However, who we should be tipping are people who are going to be serving us for a set amount of time, like a restaurant person or like a waiter or whatever, because they're only getting paid $2.13. They basically ain't getting nothing. They can go find $2. I'll give them $2.13 an hour for 5 hours. Everywhere you go, want to leave a tip? Want to leave a tip?
If you work a job where your tips are factored into your pay, this one's for you. My name is Janelle. I'm a labor and employment attorney in New York City, and I teach workers about their rights. So in some states, you have 2 minimum wages, one for tipped employees and one for non-tipped employees. In New York, we have something called a tip credit. In New York City, the minimum wage is $15, but employers can take a $5 tip credit, up to $5. This basically means that if you work a job with tips, the lowest they can pay you is $10, but they have to show on your paycheck or pay stub that you made at least that remaining $5 per hour. It can be in cash as long as it's recorded. If for whatever reason you don't have many customers that day and you don't make that much in tips, your employer is responsible for making up that amount so that you do make at least that minimum wage, the $15 an hour in New York City, for example. As always, this is not legal advice. You should speak to an attorney, preferably me. Hope it helps.
It's the middleman between the restaurant and you. I mean, would you stiff a waiter for a tip? I mean, it's not like you walk into the kitchen to the cook to get your food.
But see, I'm not going into a restaurant. They're not setting my table. They're not cleaning my dishes. They're not doing any of that. Like, no, I'm just trying to get
saving you like 30 minutes to drive out.
You're not going to tip.
Look at our guys. That's how we think here in America. You can see all the 3 options for tipping. 20% used to be the high end. 18% was okay service, and 15% was just, your baseline. But now they want 25%. Which,
if you guys thought that was bad, look at this shit. 30% on the low end, mid-range 40% tip, and then 50% tip. These people are trying to charge us an extra half of the original price as tip. Now, this tipping culture is
half hours. They always post when they just got overworked and underpaid. But listen, when you signed that contract to get hired in, you seen how much money you were getting paid for. But see, this is the thing that a lot of people that work in tip services type of jobs try to portray to us as normal people, that they don't get paid. Listen, if you work at any auto industry, any blue collar job, and you work 40 to 50 hours a week, you know that you're getting your pension getting taken out of your check, you getting your insurance taken out of your check, and you're getting taxes taken out of your check, right? And then you're getting your net gross after everything is taken out, right? As a regular full-time worker. Waiters don't get that shit taken out of their checks because most of their pay is cash. You can't track cash. That's why you see so many rappers getting paid in cash, so they don't have to report the money to the IRS and owe back on that money. Literally. Like, so all these people that's complaining about them getting $350 an hour, bro, you can make $1,000 a day and take $1,000 home. If I make $500 in one day at my place of business or my place of occupation, like, I'm only going to see maybe $275 of that 500. Like, you get to see all of y'all shit. Like, you don't have to get shit taken out of your check because your whole check goes to taxes because you're only getting paid $350 an hour. So you posting your little $2 check trying to justify, trying to make it seem like you really fucked up or broke. Bro, you can make $15,000 in 1 month. Somebody with a regular 40-hour-a-week job can't do that. So let's be for real.
I saw a really strange discourse in my comment section about whether or not people should tip. I tried to find the comment so that I could attach this to it, but I think that it was deleted or something. But it was really weird because I really thought that as a society, as like, an American society, because I know that it's different in other places of the world, I thought that we all just kind of had a mutual understanding of, yes, you should tip. This particular thing was in reference to valet drivers. And the valet service that I was referring to, I believe their base rate is usually like $9-ish an hour, which obviously is not minimum wage, but it's built structurally that way to factor in tips. Whether or not I actually agree with the structure is not the question. It's not necessarily relevant in this situation, because no matter what my opinion on that is, or somebody else's opinion, it's not going to change the structure of the thing. The people that do it are just going to end up with less money. I see this a lot in people when they talk about like others who have like serving jobs. I was a server at Olive Garden for like 2 months. But still, it's such a pet peeve for me when people say, oh, well, their business should just pay them more, so I'm not going to tip. Like, you single-handedly trying to change the structure of how different positions are built is not going to change the position. It's just going to make you look like a bad person. And on top of that, the person who did the service for you is then going to walk away with next to nothing, just, scraping the bottom of the barrel for what they did. And I guess you could say, sure, well, valet drivers don't do that much, but I've seen them run. I see these boys running back and forth to the parking lot to get these cars. Like, they work hard. But if you're using a service with the intention and knowledge that they are not making a lot of money as it is, and whatever you put into it is basically what their wage is going to be, why wouldn't you want to do that? It's weird that it's even a debate. I personally believe it shouldn't be a debate. You should just tip if you're going to use a certain, duh.
Alright guys, here we go again. And the total is $71.77. Here are the recommended tips. Again, not what it used to be, but we are making a change today.
This was our food today, and the pasta wasn't great. The burger was pretty good from what my kid says. And the steak was very good too. It was medium cooked, and it was delicious.
Hey guys, at least here, nobody's hovering over me, so they just leave it, and now I don't have to feel so pressured to type in stuff. And like I said, we're making a change. I got a great part there.
To be clear, guys, I started tipping 20% when COVID hit. That's when everybody was pretty much home, not doing anything. I thought that it felt good to reward someone that was kind of going out of their way and still working in the restaurant business to help us get our food that, we eat out and stuff, especially for someone like me who travels so much that needs to get their food from, takeout because I'm not home that much. And I was like, well, when COVID stopped, I kept doing it anyways. Well, now, again, that I saw that they start taking advantage of the consumer and they start asking for tip on top of the tax, on top of the credit card fees, and all these other things instead of just the food. That's when I know it's time to come back and just be reasonable and, and pay at least the minimum wage, but not 20, 25% anymore like I used to do.